Hello, Fear fans. I am your horror host Incarnate, welcoming you to the Con Job Last Rites, the Crash Grab Universe, the Conjuring Last Ditch. Sorry, but man, I gotta be honest. This film, even its trailers, have so very much riding against it, man. You would think, all right, it's been a while. What has it been, like 3 years since The Nun Part 2, that completely necessary film? Like, you would think that they would pull out all the stops, and we're gonna get into it, but man, I have less than zero hope for this movie. And again, the trailers itself did nothing, less than nothing, negative nothing, to make sure that this movie stood out from other haunting films, let alone stand out, because God forbid, let alone stand out from its own franchise, to convince longtime or newcomer fans to give this flick a chance. Let's get to the premise, and you'll see right off the bat where my grievances lie with this one. So, effectively retired, but drawn into one final dangerous case involving a family, the Smurls, who moved into a new home that rapidly becomes a nightmare after a new mirror is introduced. So, Oculus. They're reaching all the way back to the mid-2010s, just after the original Conjuring was released, because they're left grasping for straws and flat out, straight out of ideas. The synopsis concludes. This case is tied to one of the Warrens' oldest foes. Again, this just feels like desperation at this point, just to add dramatic weight, and I fully trust that the Warrens will be adding extra exposition, heavy, with for this origin story of this malevolent force. Now, if I was a cynical man, I would hazard a guess that the studio, looking at the con job universe as its cash cow, more like cash grab, they are so thirsty for some kind of big send-off that even the name Last Rites was chosen to artificially send the message that fans are supposed to treat this like some kind of major climax for the Warrens and this series. Finale? Hopefully. Major? Unlikely. Not with the track record that they have amassed since the first film. And if you think that I'm the one that's reaching, keep in mind that this film will have their daughter doing some ghost busting. Like, really? No one has given a crap about her, even in that Annabelle Slumber Party film, but now they're introducing a new character, which I'll get to later. Speaking of the reach around, I couldn't help but notice that the trailers just had to feature a cameo from Raggedy Ann. Like, hasn't it long been proven that Annabelle doesn't do anything? Like, think about something. She got her own trilogy, and by the last one, she was used as like the conduit with which to summon other monsters that could actually have the potential to spin off or scare the audience. I mean, they failed, but you know what I'm saying. She was used as a plot device, which she always had been. And to me, you know, they're releasing this in the same year that Methrigan bombed at the box office, and the nail was sealed in the coffin to shut out any hope of that series becoming a full-fledged franchise. Do you think it the best of ideas to feature your own ailing franchise's creepy doll? Methinks not. And they're really putting so much stock, especially in the promotion, over how this latest film is dealing with the last case that the last supernatural case that the Warrens ever worked on. So what? Like, we haven't cared about how, like, the Warrens were featured in Annabelle Comes Home, I think the third one was called. And obviously they weren't the main characters. They weren't the main focus. But basically we've seen the Warrens solving cases in 2 bad movies. And those were part 3s in their individual sub-brands. So now we're supposed to treat this like a big deal. My point is, like, they've had a long track record of really bad movies, which I'm about to get into. But, like, the last time they tried a marketing campaign like this, they were pushing The Nun hard as the darkest chapter in the Conjuring universe. It's like, bruh, give it up already. Like, we've heard the spins, we've heard every single piece of marketing that you could possibly conjure or come up with. It's like, enough already, man. We've heard all the lines. It's not impressive anymore. It's not fresh. It's nothing, right? Just give it up already. It's really time to pack this franchise up. Which, let me get to what I was referring to before about the track record that this film is on. So, I didn't realize until today, right before I started this stream, this flick is being directed by Michael Chavez. If you don't know who this guy is, let me read you his resume. This is the same director as The Curse of La Llorona. Yes, that movie that was so bad that they exorcised this from the Conjuring universe. Ooh, baby. But the list keeps going. In 2021, this is the same director as The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Stupid back in 2021. Yes, they brought him back again. And not just again, but again. Because this was the same director as The Nun, too. God, oh my. What are you people thinking? What are you doing? This is your cash cow, and you have bet the farm on a director that has failed upwards. I mean, my God, this is like the Alex Kurtzman of the Conjuring universe. And keep in mind, his first film was so bad that they kicked La Llorona out of the Conjuring franchise. And they decided, hey, you know what, buddy? You deserve to do 3 more movies. Oh, baby. I don't usually look too far deep into the writing staff by committee, but I took again when I noticed who it was that was directing this. I decided, you know what, let me just see if this is one of those movies that has more than one writer. Sure enough, not only does it have 3 separate people that worked on this screenplay. Oh yes, one of the people, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. Jesus, man. This is the same screenwriter as part 3. Bro, what are you people doing, man? You are the ones that want this to be a success, and you just keep making the same mistakes over and over. You keep bringing back the same losers that have no talent, that show you to your face, hey, I am not qualified for this. Sign me up. I cannot feel sorry. I cannot feel sorry for these people. And, like, look, I don't care how much these movies made. They haven't been good since the first one. This is one of those films that should have never been a franchise, like the original Halloween, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This should have ended at part 1. And you know why? Because thus far, throughout all of these films, all you have gotten is Para-Boredom Activity. Yeah, I said it. Dude, they had a real chance to do something different with the occult investigators having to prove a man's innocence in a possession court case. I'm referring to the last movie, The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. like, but you don't have any talent behind the camera, not in your writing staff, not in your director. And James Wan, you don't get away with this either, because they just keep hauling, they back up the money truck and get you coming back for more. And every single time you keep promoting this, and I can't remember I don't think that this guy has had a hit this decade. And a decade, which I would hastily remind you, is over half over. Like, man, this franchise has ruined everyone who's a part of it, straight up and flat out. It is astonishing that they've been able to make like 11 of these movies already. And I mean, again, the court case would have been, this just goes to show how bad they are, like how bad off they are. The court case of the last movie could have been something new and fresh and different. You know what I mean? Taking, and mind you, these were their words, because it was either their impression or the impression of fans that they wanted to see a film take place out of a haunted house. So now they're going right back to a haunted house. You can't make this crap up, man. It's like, what the hell are you people doing? Now then, here's where things get really interesting. Remember when I started this talking about the daughter that was featured in the Annabelle 3 movie, Annabelle Comes Home? Well, according to New Line Cinema CCO Chief Content Officer Richard Brenner, he has indicated that what's actually ending with Last Rites is merely, get this, phase 1. A quote, "So, while this is the last of what we call phase 1, we are hopeful that we can make more." Phase 2, TBD. Gee, I do wonder if they're introducing the Warren's daughter so they can pass the torch of the franchise to her for phase 2, because that always works, right? Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, The Mummy, Dragon Emperor, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, Marvel phases 4 through 5. And remember when I mentioned James Wan? Well, the genre hype man himself just had to chime in. Quote, "We don't want to be doing this 20 movies down the line." You're halfway there. Anyway, keep on with the quote. We don't want to do this. We don't want to be doing this 20 movies down the line where we've driven the franchise into the ground.
Bitch, please. How much we gonna rock? Then we gonna roll. Then we let it pop. Don't let it go. X gon' give it to you.
Driving the franchise into the ground, bruh. Too late on that, man. That was done and over with by the first Nun movie. And boy, how out of touch are you? The quote continues, "So I think that that's more the case. To want to go out on a high whilst we're still on top, so to speak. You're not still on top. You ain't still been on top, I would say, since the second Conjuring movie, and that came out all the way in 2016. That's almost a decade ago. Like, oh my God, he just doesn't get it. Oh, it's wild to me just how these people they just don't understand the very franchise that they have helmed. You don't have the pulse on the people in the slightest, like at all. You're terrible at this. Now, I have spoken at length about the entirety of the Conjuring universe, and before I get to the conclusion here, as you notice, I didn't even go into the case of the Smurl case, because why bother, man? If you've seen one of these, you've seen them all at this case. It's all spooks in a house. The trailers were jump scare city. So, honestly, I'll go watch the movie. I'll give you guys my impression. I wasn't going to look this case up because, again, why bother? We've been here before. We've done all this. And quite frankly, quite honestly, it's like redundant at this point. And speaking of which, at the risk of being redundant, I believe a temperature check on this franchise is what's in order. If fan reaction is anything to go by, it's long been since time that we declare time of death on these brands. Which reminds me, I gotta rap about The Devil Made Me Do It, more specifically the Conjuring universe. Despite the well-deserved acclaim that the first film got, I distinctly remember the post-release tagline that the 2013 movie was the savior of horror films. Despite this witless mantra surviving through the decade, repeated by oafish apologists like Grace Randolph, I for one found that embellished slogan puzzling, if for no other reason than the fact that a savior is only preceded by a fall from grace, and Buster, with the way that propaganda factories like Bloody Disgusting prostrate themselves at the feet of the horror temple as if it can do no wrong, you wouldn't get nary a singular establishment website, YouTube channel, or podcaster to admit that there was a single thing wrong with the genre pre-2013. Now then, moving forward, I distinctly recall that after Alex Kurtzman guaranteed Universal Monsters' ambition towards Marvel money would go tits up with that Mummy reboot, it was around that time that good old Bloody Disgusting weighed in on the Annabelle prequel, declaring the Conjuring films as the real Dark Universe. These films could do no wrong. That was until 2018 with the dud of a Nun film that 3 years later, no sequel in sight. This concussed cash grab was followed up with La Llorona, a film that was so bad it was aborted from the very franchise that birthed it, just to be followed up with that bungled Annabelle three-peat. What a sad, stale story from riches to rags. The enterprise that could do no wrong suddenly found itself doing all of them. But they couldn't throw in the towel, not with shareholders and a lukewarm fanbase to appease. What to do? What to do? Ah, yes, the mainline sequel. Whereas The Nun ended up a dead end and the Crooked Man failed to materialize because it was really the nun in a derby hat, all of a sudden the savior of horror itself needed a redeemer. And how bad of a botch did that turn out? Well, they passed the principal films from James Wan to the same director as La Llorona, so imagine the possibilities. Ouch. As far as I'm concerned, call this crap quits. It ain't been good since the first one, and it's been one protracted assembly line of snake oil. Time to close up shop. Neil Blomkamp's demonic... So, I hope you guys see where I'm coming from with this. I mean, they just have not been able to maintain any semblance of a positive track record. They have been just churning out one repetitive film after another. I mean, The Nun 2 was just utterly pointless. They had already wrapped up how the Nun figures into the Conjuring universe by the end of the first film, of the first Nun movie. Then they came back for another one, and, you know, it didn't have a buzz around it. They couldn't use, oh my god, it was the highest grossing whatever, like they could with the first one. And there's no reason to believe, with the talent behind the scenes, the talent, the fact that they want to use this as a reason to continue with another phase of Conjuring movies or streaming options. I don't know. I don't care. What I do know is that I'm on my way to the theater. I hope you enjoyed this precaution. Please come back after later on. I will be back with my thoughts fresh from the theater in my reaction video, which I refer to as The Conjuring Last Rites Aftershock. I've been Incarnate, reminding you, I ain't just a big deal, I'm the real deal. If you're resigned to your fate, time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.